Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to another Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents, and we're looking forward to an important fixture in blank game week 26. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Manchester United correspondent, Gary Robinson. How are you, Gary?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. And our Fulham correspondent, Dara Curran's in. How are you, Dara?
I'm very good, thanks, James. Guten Abend.
Good on our bench. Yes, indeed. We are pre-recording on Monday evening, just in case, Manchester United decide to play the release clause very quickly for Dan Ashworth on gardening leave. Gary, what's all that about?
Well, it's yeah, it sounds a bit petty, but I suppose it's the way football's gone, hasn't it? These uh, directors of football, or whatever his title might be, they're all in high demand, aren't they? And yeah, you end up with this to and fro. Whether what to do with him. I mean, if he wants, suppose he's treating him like a player, doesn't he? If he wants to leave, then there's probably not a lot Newcastle can do, really. They're not going to pay him for another 2 years, have they? So, yeah, bit of an odd one. I think it's reassuring that United are trying to hire these type of people now. But whether they're all worth this much hassle, they've obviously already got the lad from City and talks getting Jason Wilcox in. So I don't know how many of these types and how these all work together. But and if they can turn United around and how that fits into what money the Glazers want to spend, I don't know. But I think for now, in the short term, just reassuring that they're trying to hire those type of people.
It sounds like a football plan might be coming together.
Yeah, it might be, but to what end? Because again, it's all get all these type of people in. But if the Glazers say we don't want to spend any money in the summer, then it does still restrict what they can do, and it don't matter how many good players you got on your laptop. If the money's not there, the money's not there, is it? So, but yeah, so that's probably a question for the summer, isn't it? We won't see the fruits of that until maybe this time next year, if that. But yeah, I think just the only thing you can take at the minute is at least they're trying to hire someone like an Ashworth or an equivalent, and if it doesn't end up being Ashworth, then at least it's reassuring that they went to try and get him rather than not hiring, a director of football or CEO or all the different roles that they might end up giving him.
I think for you, Gary, it was clear he wasn't going to do anything in the January transfer window, really, because of the takeover. For you, Dara, it became a scramble at the end. And the big headline of deadline day, which I think gave us an indication of how quiet the window was, you obviously got Armando Broja in on loan, but we've hardly seen him so far.
Yeah, he was ill at the weekend. I thought we probably would have seen a little bit more of him up until now, but the headlines have been mainly on another striker who's stepped up to the plate and doesn't want to give up the spot, which is good as well, I suppose.
Is it a case with Muniz that this is why he's scoring, he stays in the team? And
I
as soon
think
as
I
he
think for
doesn't,
I
it will
think for now
change.
he's probably done enough to stay in the team. I don't see why you'd oust him when his form's been so good in the last 3 games or so.
Is
Yeah,
Broja
obviously there's stipulations in the Brohood deal which we may end up paying more money, but I think if you've got our own player that's performing well, then why don't you probably favour him to start over a loanee who's possibly going to be gone in the summer?
am I right in saying with the Broja deal, the less he plays, the more you pay? Is that how this works?
Yeah, I think he needs to play 50% of the games remaining, and then we don't pay anything. And if he pays less than that, we pay 4 million, which still isn't like a terrible deal when they were looking for 50 million at one point in January.
Okay. Gary, I've been asked by others, and you know what's coming in terms of Gary's always moaning about Maguire and McTominay. And I thought with these three
Mm.
wins in a row and Maguire's good performance at Villa Park, I got to put you under real pressure. And then I watched him on Sunday at Luton, and it suddenly
Yeah,
fell apart
precisely.
again,
And
didn't
everyone
it?
goes, "Oh, that's why people think he's shit because he's shit."
But he had been. I mean, he really had some sloppy moments in that first half and was
Yeah,
taken off. I think maybe as part in terms of the yellow card and Casemiro's yellow card not helping the situation as well. He
yeah.
has been playing well, really, though, hasn't he, Harry Maguire?
Um, he played well in the return fixture, didn't he? I think he was man of the match, and ironically probably shouldn't have played because I think he was concussed, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And yeah, he's had some decent performances, like you say. I mean, he's given the man of the match against Aston Villa the week before. I thought we were quite outplayed in that match, if I'm honest, but that wasn't Maguire's fault necessarily. I think where the sort of the debate or the nuance comes in is that if you're just watching him from an FPL point of view and you see he's 4.2 and ticking over, and with he had some clean sheets against Everton and Luton and that performance against Fulham. But if you're a United fan, we've watched him where he played in the Champions League, where Copenhagen put 4 past us and Galatasaray put 3 past us, and when we got knocked out of the League Cup by Newcastle at home and they put 3 past us. And Maguire played all of those matches and was dreadful in all of those matches. He was dreadful against Bournemouth. So whilst he's been having some good performances and sort of where you go, he probably looks like a solid squad member and it's a bit unfair and still an England player. There's been the performances in the matches, the bigger matches where the Champions Leagues or the knockout League Cup ties or Man City at home, we've been beaten 3s and 4s and been humiliated. And that's the worry that, look, it's all right in playing well against, the bottom 14, say. But as England fans, if we want to do anything in the summer, if United fans, we want to get back to title contenders, which is laughable at the minute, but that's what we're aiming for. Harry Maguire is not good enough to be there, and it's not a slight on him. But we've all seen it with our eyes the last, when did we buy him? 5 years, is it now? 6 years? I can't remember when we bought him. We all know he's not good enough. And the odd performance here and there where you think, he's improved a bit, he's not quite solid there. You know what's coming. He was given man the match against Villa last Sunday, and then gets absolutely battered to bits yesterday and has to be subbed off at half time against Luton Town. So you know what's coming. So that's the problem with him. It's not a vendetta. He's just.
It's exactly the word I was going to use. It's not a vendetta.
Yeah, it's not though, is it? It's not. If he'd have had 30 good performances in a row and we were second in the league, I'd be the first one to go, he's turned it around. But he hasn't done that. He's had a couple of good performances. Then we lose 4-3 to Copenhagen. He gets man of the match against Aston Villa. Then has to be dragged off at half time because Carlton Morris is giving him the runaround. So it is what it is, unfortunately. He's inconsistent. And when he's at his best, he can be a good player. But his worst, he's not good enough anymore. And I think for the best for everyone, he just moves on in the summer.
Dara, would you take him?
No.
No. So genuinely, you don't think you'd get in your team?
No, I don't think so.
Sure, you're probably going to be looking for a centre back in the summer, aren't you? If Rabio doesn't sign up,
we probably will do. But the way we've been playing this season, we've kind of had a bit of a high line, and I think he tends to come out and go missing and just leave big gaps. So I don't think he'd suit us at all.
Yeah, no,
well,
fair.
You can't play high line. If you play Harry Maguire, you can't play high line. You end up playing 20 yards deeper, and you've got to make sacrifices in other ways. So, yeah.
Would Scott McTominay get in your team, Zara?
I would take McTominay, absolutely.
Gary, go on, ask him how much.
For McTominay?
Yeah, how much do you want? Dara's paying.
Oh, what? Don't know. What have you got down the back of that sofa, Dara? £6 will do us.
I got maybe a pog and a stick of bubble gum.
Hang on, right? In fairness, has Ten Hag not found a little niche for him where he can be a bit of a box crasher at the end of games and has scored some important goals for you? Yes or no?
Yeah, there's a super sub launching it. Yeah, that's fine, but he's not a central midfielder in the Premier League. So if Fulham need someone a super sub to, like you say, crash the box in the last 5-10 minutes, then great. But if they need a central midfielder who can pass and tackle, then Scott McTominay is not your man, unfortunately.
Okay. Dara, when you come on the pod, it feels like we always have to do this. We talk about the importance of Joao Palhinha. He's hit the 10 yellow card mark just in time, mate.
That was inevitable.
2-game ban. He's obviously going to miss this at the weekend, and then Brighton at home. That's two terrible games for him to miss as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, look, it is what it is. We knew it was going to come at some point. He's just a magnet for yellow cards, whether they're deserved or not. I think it's just sometimes it's the profile of the player, and the referees just have it in their mind that he's a tackle demon and he's going to pick up cards. So yeah, look, that's going to happen. So going to have to figure out who's going to slot in the midfield.
Your record without him is not good, mate.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. So.
For the benefit of the audio listeners, Dara
United isn't good either.
But I could see through the smile, the pain in his voice, thinking, yeah, this is going to be a difficult couple of weeks. What is the solution then in his absence?
I mean, realistically, you can't probably have Kearney, who was one of the players in there. It could be. I mean, one of the solutions could be play Iwobi and Reed, because Iwobi played in the AFCON. He played that kind of deeper role, and it also gives you the option to switch it up if we do need to attack it at moments. He's got that. I think just Kearney doesn't quite have the defensive attributes that you might need alongside another midfielder who doesn't tackle as much as Palhinha does. So
well, no one tackles in the whole league. No one tackles as much as
Anthony Robinson, maybe
as much as Palhinha does. But without him, that I get that. Someone like Kearney is almost going to be less useful for you because you need to make up for the lack of legs of Palhinha.
Realistically, we're not going to have the ball as much, and that's fine. If we do have the possession, then that's where Kearney is good for dictating the play, but yeah, realistically, we're probably not going to have as much of the ball.
So, Gary, Fulham have the 19th best record away from home at the 20 teams. This is going to be 5 wins in a row, isn't it?
19th best, was that, or worst? Did you say? Sorry.
Well, I was doing Dara the courtesy of saying 19th best.
Yeah,
it's the second worst, isn't it?
Right, I see what you mean. Right. Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, you would think so, but especially if Palhinha's out, because like you've just said, the rate dramatically drops, isn't it? So you think so. Like I say, the results have picked up recently. Not that convinced if the performances have matched it as much as it looks like. So you would like to think, given that we've, apart from Martinez, we look like we're pretty much full strength. I suppose it depends what's happened to Shaw, maybe. Yeah, you'd like to think so, but I've said it a million times. You can never tell with this lot, can you? Because this form and this run of results, it can turn as quickly as it started because it's not born out of anything.
When we last spoke before you went to Wolves, we went through your previous 10 games and we went good performance, bad performance, good performance, bad performance. Right. Well, you've now won 4 in a row, or are you still it's 5 wins in 10? Like where do you sit on this?
No, it is 4 in a row, but I suppose it's even those 4 wins. You go. I mean, the Wolves, the first hour maybe, we played really, really well against a really good side, Wolves. And then, nearly threw that away. West Ham, I mean, we won 3-0, but West Ham would probably say didn't play that badly, maybe. Villa were probably the better side, I would say. And yesterday, Luton we could have got 4 or 5 more on the counter-attack, but Luton will probably feel a bit annoyed to have not come away with anything out of it. So...
winning at Wolves, it's some really good sides have lost at Wolves this year. Some really good sides have lost at Villa this year.
Yeah.
And Luton have given every top team a proper game at Kenilworth Road that they played. Like, to win all 3 of them games, Gary, is good, mate.
No, winning them, of course, winning them is good. But, you say Luton have given everyone a good... But, they had 60% possession yesterday and 20 shots. They didn't do that to City and Arsenal, did they? So... The wins are amazing. To win 4 in a row when it looked like the season was fading into nothing, and like you said, to go to Villa, Luton, and Wolves is great. But what it isn't, apart from the Wolves performance, what it isn't born out of is a new style of play or something's clicked tactically, it's been 4 wins that, like I say, could easily turn into 3 defeats in the next 4. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem, that you never really feel like they're getting anywhere. You just feel that they're stumbling from week to week.
Do you not feel a bit better about this period, mate? You must do.
Well, yeah, if you win matches, you always feel better, don't you? But if you wouldn't, if they play like they played again yesterday for the next 5, how many of those 5 do they win? You can't keep playing like you did against Villa and Luton every week and keep winning. It doesn't happen like that, does it?
Yeah, I mean, the flip is, I know you. This is where you can always spin your narratives, right? You won very late at Wolves. You won very late at Villa. But actually, the performance at Wolves was outstanding, mate. You should never have been in a position where the game wasn't going to get won.
No, the Wolves performance was outstanding. But like I say, but even then, we found a way to make it difficult for ourselves. So this is what I'm saying. Every piece of good thing to cling on to, there's always something immediately that you go, yeah, but, and until they knock that out of the system and string a proper run together. I'm not comparing us to Arsenal talk because we're nowhere near Arsenal at the minute. But Arsenal were looking a bit rocky, weren't they? And they've just won 5-6 on the bounce, maybe. And you look at their wins and you go, oh, you can see why, and you think, yeah, they'll probably play the same against Newcastle on Saturday, and then what Sheffield United is, and so on, and Porto, and you go, yeah. You look at United and you go, yeah, it could continue, but it could the same flip the coin, and it'll be draws and stupid defeats, and you just don't know where you are with it, because the losses come out of nowhere and the wins come out of nowhere, and that's my only concern. As great as winning,
but it's also
the Wolves back to us
at the moment, and I realise this isn't what Manchester United want to be doing, but Arsenal are competing with City and Liverpool, and have that pressure of knowing they've got to win every game. You're competing with Villa and Tottenham at the moment. It is a difference.
No, I wasn't. No, it is a difference, yeah, but it wasn't about necessarily comparing them to an Arsenal. It was saying Arsenal's wins. Arsenal will know why they won all of those matches 4-5-6-0. United, we could easily perform like we did against Villa and Luton again, and we'll get someone like the floor with us 3-4-0. And that's the problem with it, is that even when we're playing well against the Wolves, that can turn into a 4-3 dogfight. And even when we win matches, you go, can't play like that again. And we've seen it before. At middle of last season, we looked like we're playing well, and then out of nowhere, you get trounced. So yeah, it's been a good run, but just always cautious with that lot, because you just know that it could flip back the other way out of nowhere.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying that'll start this weekend if against Palhinha.
Well, I hope so, because you're getting a bit close to my team, and it's starting to bother me now. So I'm all legs. I'm all legs in the Fulham basket this weekend, but I can't say my confidence is high looking at this away record. You've won 3 in a row away, Gary. Dara's team is the only one that hasn't won an away game since Gameweek 1. And I think and
we were lucky to.
I was going to say, any Evertonian will tell you were very lucky that day as well. What is that, Dara?
I don't know. That opening day was a real smash and grab. I don't know. Last season we won against everybody that was below us, that we like on paper sort of that we were expecting to win. And this year it's just, we've been a bit Jekyll and Hyde. It's a bit like you're saying, Gary, you don't know where the wins are coming from. You can't predict them. And even like we've beaten Arsenal, we've beaten Bournemouth a couple of weeks ago. I didn't expect anything from that game at all. And we're pulling out wins where we're not necessarily expecting them. And then slipping up against Burnley was just an absolute kick in the teeth. 2-0 up. I was tearing my hair out. And there was chances to go 3-0 up at some stages, and even 3-1 up. And just to let that slip is just a joke. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that the consistency's not quite there. Away form. It's pretty poor.
It's 0.58 points per game in away games, which sounds bad and is not helped by things like that, playing a team that's almost certain to go down and being 2 up and not winning the game. But that's it. Once you get this United game out the way, Dara, you've then played, I would say, all of the expected top 9 away from home. You still have to go to Wolves, you still have to go to West Ham, but then the other away games you've got left are against teams that are below you. So is the away record as bad as it looks, or is it a bit false in the sense you've got some very good away games still to come?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I honestly don't know at this point. I think of late, we've kind of had a lot of little niggly injuries and AFCON and different members of the squad being rotated a little bit, so that there hasn't been the consistent starting lineup as well that there had been last season. We've had centre backs changing around quite a bit. Obviously, the forward line has just changed all the time. So yeah, it's not quite been ideal, but you can't really blame that either. At the same time, like everybody has their injuries, so yeah. Look, we're just gonna have to trudge on. I think. I don't know. It's one of those seasons like we're not really in trouble, but we're not pushing for anything either. So there's not. I don't know whether there's an incentive to actually kick on and out of all the cups now.
I said on Monday's pod, and you're the first club I've mentioned it to, that we need to start thinking Fulham Beach. But to caveat that, the away record's obviously bad. Your home record, therefore, has obviously been quite good to keep you out of trouble, considering your away results have been shocking. But then your home games left: Brighton, Tottenham, Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Crystal Palace.
Lovely.
Is there concern, or do you feel safe?
I don't feel concern at all. Like, I think what are we on now? 29?
29.
Yeah. I think like another 6 points is probably going to be good enough. I just, and there's potential points deductions or whatever might be coming down the line. Like, I just don't see the form of people below us picking up enough and ours to drop. Like, we'd literally have to be 19th or 18th on form to get dragged into that.
You're a strange team, though, aren't you? Because
we are a very strange
since
team.
that game you lost to United with the late Bruno Fernandes goal, you got beat by Villa at the weekend, which is fair enough. In between that, there's a run of 7 home games. You lost 1 to Burnley. I'm struggling to go figure here, Dara.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it this year. It's a bit of a funny season because when we kind of knew around March, April of last year that we were going to stay up, and I was hoping that there would have been another spend in the summer and we could reinforce again and build on what we did, and that didn't. It did happen, but it happened very late, and the planning just felt a bit last minute. And obviously, there's been worries in January about finances and whatnot, and it feels like the club are gambling that they're kind of gone, well, we're not going to go down this year, so we just don't need to outlay any more money. And
I think a lot of clubs have felt that this year, Dara. And yeah, I am playing Jekyll and Hyde a little bit because I agree with you. I think that probably 2 wins be more than enough. I think 35 points would probably be enough to stay up. You're on 29. If you're comfortably clear of 1 point per game, you're comfortably safe, to be honest, mate. It's probably just a bit frustrating that you've not kind of kicked on into that group that Manchester United have just got out of, because you're not that far away. I mean, we're saying you're on 29, you're 7 points behind West Ham. West Ham went into the start of the year thinking they could challenge for top 4, for example. So it's not, it's not that far away. It's interesting. Talking of top 4, Gary, you're the form horse. Should you take it from here?
Don't know. I mean, Villa look to have, don't want to say gone off the boil because that's unfair on the season they've had, but you know, they do seem to be struggling a little bit by the standards they set pre-Christmas. Possibly say the same about Tottenham, although obviously you know more. Some of that might be unlucky. I don't know. So we've certainly got ourselves in the mix now. I suppose we don't play either of you again, do we? So we've already played you both twice now. So there's no sort of head-to-head 6-pointer that we can catch you up on. So we are just relying on winning a couple more matches than you both from now until the end. Villa should get to the European final, shouldn't they? So hopefully that would distract them. So yeah, we should be giving it a good go from here. I mean, whether you say we should do it, I still think if Villa can find that form of pre-Christmas, I don't think we'd get to them. But I don't think our fixtures just, even for all I've just said about United and where our wins come from, our fixtures on paper don't look that bad. I think we've still got quite a few of the really difficult ones, but we've kind of got that. We've got the top three, have we, maybe? And then that group around us, we don't really play anyone, I don't think. Maybe Newcastle at home. So we could do it, but I still think we'd rely on Villa, especially. And look, if the top five becomes a possibility, which what we're saying, 70% chance, then, we've got to be right in there. But it could just come down to one mad result or, an injury, whoever has the worst in it. Could be anything, couldn't it? I don't think there'll be a lot between the three of us now.
If you do pull this up and finish fourth, Erik ten Hag will still be manager next season, won't he? For the benefit of those on the audio, Gary looks well impressed with that thought.
Yeah, I suppose they'd find it hard to sack him if he went third place, fourth place. Yeah, and especially if he tacked on a cup run. If we beat Forest next week, then you're already talking quarter-final stage, aren't you? So
yeah,
and let's be fair as well. Unless they've got someone out there who they know that they want and can transform them.
Let's be fair. Tottenham obviously went through some bad injury problems. Villa have got their own issues now as well. You also went through them, and I think because you're Manchester United, there wasn't quite the focus on it in the same way. But other than Martinez, and obviously we don't know about Shaw at the moment, it's essentially you're now back to your strongest team, aren't you? I know there's still a few injured, but back to your strongest team basically.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is Martinez is so huge for us because I've just said everything I've said about Maguire, and obviously some people might think I've over-egged that, but what Martinez is obviously defensively a bit more sound, but it's just allows us on the ball. He can play a bit higher. I know people rate Maguire on the ball, and I don't think Maguire's that bad on the ball, but Martinez is just so much quicker. He really snaps it. He really snaps it through into those midfield spots, whereas Maguire can be a bit ponderous. Maguire will open his body up, take a touch, come back to it, and then he'll play a good pass, whereas Martinez seems to, a bit more 1-2 touch stuff. And I think that, I don't think we're going to get Martinez back for, another month.
Yeah, it won't be till after the March international break. Certainly, I don't think.
So it's a long run without him, probably.
But is it as much a Varane problem as a Maguire problem? Varane completed 4 passes in the first half at Luton at the weekend. That's not right.
Yeah. No, I don't know what was going on yesterday. Well, it was just such an odd. We went 2-0 up, and I don't know what happened really. It was just like we said to Luton, you can dictate how this game goes, and I don't know how Varane only gets through 4 passes. I mean, anyone who's obviously you do your Sky stats all the time. Anyone who plays a Sky game, away at Luton for centre backs has been like 90s, 100s, hasn't it?
It has changed last couple of months, but even still, 4 passes completed for a centre back, especially when you've got yourself into a lead, a 2-goal advantage so early as well.
They should just been knocking it around and having it back off the midfielders and rotating the ball, and just couldn't get anything going.
Very strange. All right, let's talk a little bit of fantasy. Dara, your team plays in game week 29. We know that confirmed. You obviously played my team, Tottenham, in that week. But it feels like you're being ignored. Is that right?
I can see why, because there's other flashier players that you could bring in now. I think people could closer to the game week 29, they might have a look at it, but there's other players that they're probably looking to bring in now, your Solankis or whoever else. I don't know. I'm considering a couple, but I haven't quite made my mind up just yet. I've got a few injuries that I need to, and a few blanks this week that I need to kind of
All right. Tell us which ones are in your thoughts then. Andy Martin's waiting for you to say Willian with bated breath.
Absolutely not. No. Um, I've got I've got Joao Pedro injured, so I might go Muniz potentially.
So
I
you
kind of
think
fancy
just to hold that thought for a moment, you think it's possible then that he could hold this spot up till game week 29?
potentially. I think Jimenez is out for a month,
Yep.
so there's only one other person
It's
competing
brilliant.
with him.
He'll certainly get minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't necessarily need him for the other games. It'll kind of be
Just
that
be
one. I
29.
might rotate him in if I absolutely have to, but it allows me then to pump more money into different areas of the pitch.
The problem for Muniz, I think, I'm asking myself, let's just, hypothetically, Breuer was out for the month as well. And you looked at it and you went, well, it's a clear run. He's enabling forward, dirt cheap price. What's he, 4 at the moment? Was he 4 in 3 or something, Dara? So
Yeah.
he's in decent form, but he suffers with the same problem that Gary's forward. Rasmus Hojlund's obviously doing really well now as well. But the problem is, it's like this little convergence going all forward of Watkins, Solanke's double 28. Haaland speaks for himself. A lot of people want Tony in 29 as well. Those four feel like they're in the running because Hojlund doesn't play in 29 as it stands. That's probably going to get overlooked. And I think also, Dara, for Muniz, it's like most people don't need the money
Yeah,
at the
maybe.
moment. So you don't need to. If it was a case we look, Salah's playing in 29, I need to force him in with Haaland, then it becomes more useful. I don't think people need the money at the moment, to be honest.
No, well, with Salah, Haaland, and Son away, and all these players, like people have kind of spread it around and mixed up the teams, and yeah, I think the template's very different to what it was. Um, I don't know. I didn't have a lot of money in the bank. I didn't build up. I didn't have a lot of these players early, so for me, it might come in handy somewhere down the road. Um, I don't know. It's just I haven't quite made my mind up on that one. I need to get rid of Jota as well, by the looks of things. So we'll see.
Is one of your midfielders under consideration for that spot then? And if so, which one?
No, I don't think there is. If I was to possibly look at somebody else, it might be Anthony Robinson. I think just the assist potential there is probably the best of the bunch.
There'll be people going into this week as well. We've perhaps still got Trent or got Pedro Porro injured, for example, at the moment. Obviously, no fixture. Doughty, no fixture this week, for example. You think Robinson? He feels like the only one at the moment I could look at and say he would almost definitely play.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that.
'Cause you've
A
got
lot of our, especially when Williams there, that everything seems to come down that left hand side, and he's just bombing on. He's getting crosses in all over the place. So
so why upset Andy? Why would William be of no consideration for you at the moment?
I'm not saying he's not of no consideration, but he's got the same number of goals as Muniz has for Fulham. So that, and with limited minutes, so that'll tell you something.
Okay. About a returning Harry Wilson.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of competition for places now. Adama came on as well, so
And should have scored. Of course he didn't.
yeah, I know. Look, we'll see. I'm not sure. Harry Wilson was just starting to kind of click in. He seems to just keep on getting setbacks, and yeah, there's a lot of competition for places now.
Leno in goal? I suppose you need to have the goalkeeper problem to be
Yeah,
looking at that. And
I've had him for quite some time, and I've just rotated my keepers, so it's fine. He's not really taking over the points of late, which isn't
no,
ideal.
just having a look. Since you beat West Ham in game week 16, so that's what, 9 games ago, 20 points.
He's not even picking up saves. Not the number of saves he was at the start of the season.
Is there any alarm about that? Because I think a lot of people felt he set and forget in goal. Should people be looking at the opposite then and potentially selling?
It has crossed my mind, yeah, but I haven't pulled the trigger just yet.
Gary won't be recommending Onana, will you, Gary?
No, I think he's a bit too much, too expensive, isn't he? And if you don't know he's playing in 29, then yeah, it makes him difficult to everyone come back to if we get a double later on
This
in
is
the year.
obviously the joint highest scoring goalkeeper in FPL at the moment, Andre Onana, for clarification.
Yeah, no, he's
At time of
but
recording,
again,
if
at time
Pickford's
of
got sent
recording,
off against Palace, he's got more, mate.
yeah. But you don't know when you're gonna when would you be able to play him. I mean, you won't want to play him against City. He might not be available in 29. So it just becomes an awkward one, doesn't it? And I think you could spend your money out better elsewhere, couldn't you?
Where do you stand on Hojlund at the moment? Because I think a lot of us would like to look at this now. His form's obviously great, but it's the other forwards is blocking it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd looked at him. I'd looked at buying him in this weekend gone, but probably a mistake that we're probably all thinking about at the minute is you just get so obsessed with blanks and doubles and and obviously we've all, not all of us, you sold Saka and went back to him. You do all these stupid stuff, don't you, around blanks and doubles, and this might be another one, Hojlund, where you go, oh, I can't buy Hojlund because he might blank in 29 and blah blah blah. And before you know it, he might have Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United at home in the next 4 weeks, and we're all sat there going, "Oh, I might want a Luton striker for
and
a
Brentford
double."
away on the other side as well. He's not
precisely.
terrible.
So it just, but you've just said, we probably all want Solanke now-ish if you haven't already got him. Watkins is probably going nowhere for a lot of people. Haaland's Haaland. Tony's
and you
probably
look at 29, you think I want Tony for 29, yeah.
Yeah. You might already have Tony in now.
If you're going 3 strikers, then you can only go 4 mids. So.
I think most are on 3 forwards though at the moment, though. It feels
like
because of what you said, Dara, the spread of the money. That might be why you've got someone like Muniz more in mind. Like, who's your third forward at the moment?
It's Joao Pedro.
Yeah, you said he's obviously out injured.
I had 3 forwards for a long time, and I tried to move away from it to go to the 2. And that would just if I went for Muniz, that would just free up even more funds again.
So anyway, help everyone out, Gary. Are you gonna win at Forest in a cup or not? Because people want to know, mate.
Probably. This is what I'm saying. We would probably, I could see us Saturday, Fulham missing their best player. That'll be another comfortable 3-0, and we'll be like, oh, United are flying now. And then, like we did on, was it Boxing Day we played them, or New Year's Day?
Yeah, it was such an awful game as well, mate.
Yeah, and we'd just beaten Aston Villa 3-2 in that amazing comeback win, and it was like, oh, and Hojlund had got his first goal, and then Hojlund was injured, and we were dreadful and got beat 2-1, and you go, where's, so you would like to think that the way they're playing, not the way it's going at the minute, that Forest away, but you wouldn't want to put a lot of money on it, would you?
Which is why I bought Dallo last week.
Yeah, no,
I'd hedge my bets against Alfie Doughty for game week 29. Did I buy the best United defensive asset of the choice? Bearing in mind that money was irrelevant for me.
Yeah, how much? What's Dallo for? 5-1, is it?
4, well, 5. Yeah, I think 5-1 actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 0.9 more than Maguire, isn't it? I think they're the only 2 you can consider. Shaw is probably too expensive. Injury doubt, got to be serious injury doubts on him now. That's 2 matches in a row he's limped out of at half time. Varane, neither now the summit is he price wise. So I think, if money's no object to people, then I think then you have bought the best one. Yeah. For all I've just said about Maguire, if he's 4.2 and he allows you to get something else, for another doubler or another blanker or etc., then it's not the end of the world.
It's worth saying. I mean, should Maguire owners be concerned? Because I actually thought Johnny Evans played really well when he came on Sunday.
Yeah, he did. He did play really well, and obviously, Ten Hag really fancied Evans pre-Christmas, but that was playing with Maguire. So whether he would play him and Varane together by choice, we haven't seen that as of yet. So maybe, Lindelof will be around the team as well. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you can only go to Maguire if you want to take a gamble, and because him being there at 4-2 allows you to get your Solanke in, or change Darwin to Tony, or whatever the maths are. So if it allows you to do other stuff, otherwise I think, like you say, you just go to Dallo and forget about it.
The best asset to get hold of if you want one though at the moment is Garnacho, isn't it?
Yeah, because
in terms of pound for pound for value.
Yeah, and he's one where you'll never, if it gets to City away or it gets to the blank and we are blanking, you don't care if he's on your bench. You don't feel like you've tied, if you get a Hojlund in, or even your Dallo, you might think, oh, do you really want to bench £5 million defender and, things like that. So you wouldn't want to bench a Hojlund either. Whereas Garnacho, leave him on the bench because he's really coming along this season. The more he plays,
he should have hauled on
he's
Sunday
still,
as well.
He's still frustrating, but he's only young. I think that's what not so much as a fantasy player, but just as an actual player. He's a 19-year-old, winger, wide forward. That's what they all do. There's none of them get 20 a season when they're that age, do they really? Unless they're an absolute superstar.
Me and Clayton had a discussion on Monday's pod about really keeping an eye on him, even if you don't want to buy him now, because if he doesn't excel over this period, he might start next season at sort of 6 million-ish, judging by Rashford dropping to 6.5 the other year. And actually might be really interesting, even at a higher price next season than what he is now.
I think he really will be, because, and look, I'm not comparing him to Saka at all. He's nowhere near that level and possibly never will get up there. But if you look at what Saka's numbers were 3 years ago when he was 19, he was only getting 5 goals, 5 assists a season. Now, I appreciate he played left back a bit and things like that. And it only takes a bit of patience and a bit of management. And these players, you go, oh, they're frustrating, they never get there. He was showing it with Ronaldo, and obviously not going to be a Cristiano Ronaldo, but they go from 5 a season, 6 season, you go, oh, he's never at 19, and before you know it, 20, 22, 23, that can become 10s, 15s, 20s a season. Now he's got that journey to do. He's got to prove that he can do that. But that's what a lot of these. Martinelli would be the same at Arsenal, wouldn't he?
I think I just had a power cut. That's amazing. Can you hear me, gents? I had a power cut, which is why we dipped out there, unfortunately. Gary, you were saying Garnacho is getting near Saka's potential output.
Yeah, so yeah, he's not. Look, he's got a long way to go to do what Saka is, and he maybe never will get there. My point was that 3 years ago, when Saka was this kind Garnacho's age now, he was only getting 5 goals, 5 assists a season, which is kind of where Garnacho's at now. And you just got these young, wide forwards. You've got to stay patient with them, and you've got to play them week in, week out, because if you don't, you just ruin any potential, any rhythm they can get. And that's, if you do it and they are of that level, then you can reap the benefits and you get those kind of Saka. You turn into a Saka or a Martinelli, or some of the players have even been even better than those. So I'm not saying he's going to get to a Saka level, but we're never going to know if you only give him reduced minutes and things like that. We've seen what he can do, that he can be a match winner for us, the Villa game, the Everton goal, things like that. So there's obviously something there. You've got to give these players a chance. Otherwise, you ruin them and they don't become anything.
With that in mind, quick question.
Yeah.
Fernandes is 8.2. Rashford is 8.4. Garnacho is 5.
Yeah.
If they were all 8 million,
yeah,
which one would you buy?
I'd buy Garnacho.
Wow.
Because I think he's, well, I don't know. He's probably already scored. Has he scored more goals than the other two anyway in the league?
Be close to. Quite possibly. Garnacho's on 8 attacking returns in FPL, 5 and 3. Fernandes is on 3 and 5, so the same. And Marcus Rashford is 5 and 3, the same. So they've all got 8 attacking returns.
Yeah, all right, but so there's not a lot in it then. I just think Garnacho looks more involved, and I think I don't know. I just think maybe it's a bit of bias in me because I've really liked him for 18 months, 2 years now, and I'm just glad that he finally looks like he's getting a run of games. So maybe that's it. But Fernandes looks to be, I don't know, his numbers creation wise still look pretty good. I think he's still got a third XA in the league and things like that, but just something's not right. Playing, feels like he has to play deeper a bit more now because Casemiro's legs have gone and McTominay's in the team a bit more, and Rashford struggles are obviously we've spoken about quite a lot, so no point rehashing them, but they don't look over yet. So yeah, I think if they're all the same, I think I'd probably gamble on a Garnacho, and given that he's 3 million cheaper, then it makes it an absolute no-brainer.
When you piss it up the wall at Nottingham Forest next midweek,
Yeah,
and you end up playing in game week 29 at home to Sheffield United, and everyone's gone, oh my God, shit, I want 3 of them for that on a free hit.
Yeah.
Which 3?
Because
Because you would go 3 if you were free hitting that week under that circumstance, surely.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Especially if there's only 4 fixtures on, say, or even if there's 5, you definitely still have 3 United,
Yeah,
I think,
you
wouldn't
would.
you? I think there's always a tendency to try and spend the money, isn't there, on a free hit? But given that there's still be the likes of Son that you might want to fit in, and Tony and whoever, so I think I wouldn't bother about spending the money. I'd go Dalot, Garnacho, Hojlund.
That's incredible, mate. Dara reaction to that he wouldn't go Rashford or Fernandes under that circumstance.
I don't think I'd go Rashford. I might consider Fernandes, but it would just depend on his form leading up to that. He's just been very inconsistent. I don't know if I have the faith in it. So yeah, if I did need to put the money somewhere else, I mean, you're not worried about money in a free hit, really, are you? With minimal teams where all the big ones
Well,
aren't
you'd still need Son. You still need Son, Watkins, Tony, wouldn't you?
Well,
so there's
that thought. I mean, yeah, Son, Watkins, Tony. It's not like Haaland, Salah, and Dara to jump in. Would free hitters in 29? Do they have to have Son against your team?
I think people would target that game. You'd have to. You'd go with.
Is that the right thing? Most people are saying now that they want free Tottenham in 29. What do you think of that?
It makes sense. It makes sense to me. Whether it materializes or not, I mean, look at this game week or this stuff game week already. Everyone's like piled in, and it's not quite been what we thought it would be.
Perhaps a more interesting question then. If we work on Tottenham playing the front 3 that played at the weekend, which is probably Son left, Richarlison through the middle, Kulusevski on the right, and then obviously Maddison behind that. Which Tottenham player would you be most worried about in game week 29? Just from a general perspective in terms of damaging your team rather than the FPL perspective.
I think if Maddison gets back into form, I'd probably be more worried about him. When the away game we played, he absolutely just bossed it.
He was good. But he wasn't good. He wasn't good at the weekend, I must add to that.
Yeah, I heard that. But yeah, I think if he starts clicking back into gear, that'd be the one. I think he could pick us apart.
If you were free hitting in game week 29, which players do you think you would pick from the Fulham Tottenham game? Oh my God, you are kidding. Oh, Jesus, Rice and God. All right, try again after the second power cut. If this keeps going, you might have won on Saturday, Dara, by the time we get through the end of this, unbelievably. Right, you were saying, I think, which Fulham or Tottenham players you would go if you were going to free hit in 29.
How many have I got to choose from? Or does it matter?
Well, you could pick 6 in theory, couldn't you?
Yeah, I did kind of ramble on a little bit. The pair of us went back and forth while you were trying to sort out the internet. But yeah, I think I'd lean more in the Tottenham camp than I would in the Fulham camp. Yeah, your Sons and your Madisons and what have you. I think there's more chance of them hauling and hitting double figures than there is of Fulham players doing that.
I don't know. Have you
And
seen the chances we give up, mate?
And probably the same would go for the United players. Like you're probably not going to get the big hauls from them. It's possible, but I think just your son's like an explosive kind of player that you just never know.
Yeah, I
On
get
the
it.
day he can turn it on.
I feel like with Sonny, he was the one I said I was kind of reluctant about it, but I said he's probably the one at the moment because I think that whole potential is there, and he'd probably be sick if you avoided him when he went off. I think it's probably
Money
it's the
probably won't be an
capability.
option either. So
No, it won't be. Right, I'm off to put 50p in the meter. And let you guys go. Thank you both so much for your patience. Let's do correct score predictions.
You should have started with the light off and switched it back on again.
Maybe, yeah. Let's do correct score predictions before we finish. It's been fun. Go on, Gary.
I'll say 2-0 to Manchester United.
Clean sheet.
Yeah.
Onana, top scoring goalkeeper. Yeah.
Dara?
I'll say I'll go Desmond.
Good lad.
I think there'll be a few goals.
I think that Palhinha miss.
Yeah, that's the thing that swung it for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to say the same as Gary. I'm interested to see, Dara, in a conclusion of this season, though, because your home fixtures are quite tough and your away fixtures after United get better. If we'll see some sort of flip here, you'll start winning away from home regularly, and your home performances may suffer. I think it's a big summer for you because I think the age of the squad is potentially becoming a little bit of a problem as well.
Yeah, I mean, Willian could be gone. There's a few that are getting on a bit. Yeah, I mean, I was actually thinking just the away form. It could have just been the case. There's 10 games that we haven't scored in this season. We've not scored in games more frequently than any other team. So I think the chopping and changing up front and not quite having a consistent first choice striker for some time probably has in some way led to that. But yeah.
With that in mind, Gary, just quickly, if someone was free hitting this week, which I guess there will be some, same players for you, Dalot, Hojlund, Garnacho, same three?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't. It's a bit difficult. I don't know what if you need money more this week. You probably would need
a little bit more, maybe because of Haaland. You still want
Haaland and a bit of whatever else is going on.
That.
Saka and Odegaard and
Watkins.
Yeah. So I think I think given that this week you definitely need more money this week to free it than in 29, then I think you're definitely looking to save on United 3. Yeah.
Would you go for it? Do you think?
Probably. I'd have to. I mean, you'd want 3 Wolves, wouldn't you? You'd want Haaland. You'd probably want a couple of Arsenal against Newcastle, maybe 3. So I can't quite work out the maths on the spot.
Villa at home to Forest, Brighton at home to Everton.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know if you'd need 3, but if you're going to free it, you should have a strong bench as well, shouldn't you? So at least have 3.
You're going to free it, you may as well roll the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you've got Dalot first bench or Garnacho first bench and Odegaard gets the rest or whatever, then at least you've got something good coming in. So I think you need 3 in the 15. Whether you'd actually start all 3, I don't know.
I think you're probably right. Guys, thank you both so much. Gary, anything you want to plug before you finish?
No, thank you.
Good stuff. Dara, anything for you, mate?
Nah, not for me. Thanks.
Super. So you'll be back with me for the Sky Fantasy Football podcast tomorrow and on next week's clash of the correspondents. Fulham's game week 29 opponents feature Ricky Saunders of Tottenham Hotspur. We're drawing Rory McLaughlin-Dowd, our Crystal Palace correspondent, to preview Tottenham and Crystal Palace. We've obviously interesting Tottenham assets ahead of 29. And of course, Palace have a confirmed new manager in Oliver Glasner. Which sees me to say thanks again so much to Gary and to Dara. Good luck this week, gents. Cue music, please. Man child. Quick, before it goes again.